Where do we stand for fans of football across the country? Where do we stand on the possibility of Russell Wilson being traded out of Seattle?
I don't think that possibility should be dismissed, despite the fact that the Seahawks did not engage the Bears very much this past week, despite the fact that they didn't deal him, despite the fact that Russell Wilson's 4 teams all essentially have made quarterback moves with the exception of the Las Vegas Raiders, who remain committed to Derek Carr. The Saints committed money to Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill, the Cowboys to Dak Prescott, the Bears to Andy Dalton. Greeny, this is a trade that was not going to get done this week at the start of the new league year on March 17th or 18th. This was always a trade that, if it happened, would be the week of or before the NFL draft, after Seahawks general manager John Schneider and his front office have done the necessary work to figure out the quarterback that they would like to replace Russell Wilson with. You're not going to go trade a future Hall of Fame quarterback and not know what you're doing at the quarterback position. That's not going to happen. And so there is so much work to be done on these quarterbacks without a combine this year, without as many games this year, without as many on-campus visits this year. They have to do a lot of work to figure out what they want. And the Bears, sitting at number 20 in the draft in the first round, did not have a pick nor a quarterback that they possessed that they could turn around and trade to Seattle to make Seattle feel good about its quarterback situation. And I know that the Seahawks would have to count $39 million in dead cap money against their cap. That's right. It's a big number. But the fact of the matter is, as it currently stands, Russell Wilson counts $32 million against their cap. So if they were to trade him, it'd be an additional $7 million, which is a lot in a year where the cap is down. But that's why you need a rookie quarterback. That's why you start over there financially, because he gives you a financial break and gives you cap freedom and liberties that they once had with Russell Wilson, that they used to spend money on their defense and win a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson, a great young quarterback, on a cheap rookie contract. If they could repeat that and know they were comfortable repeating that, I think they'd be open to a trade. We have not heard the Seahawks to date come out and say, we are not trading Russell Wilson. It just has not moved in that direction yet. But this wasn't the time for that to happen. The week of the draft is the time when that would happen, if it does.
So let me bring the crew in here, but I'd like to keep Schefter with us as well if we can. But we have Dan Orlovsky joining us for the first time this morning. He gets up early with us here today. And so let me say good morning to Dan. Oh, there he is. And Dan, because I'm looking at your notes, and you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking, which is if the Seahawks are interested in these young quarterbacks, these rookies, then the teams that are on Russell Wilson's list are not the places they need to be talking to, right?
Yeah, and I need Russell Wilson just to be 21 about it. You know, like open up to every team. Don't even give the Seattle Seahawks a certain list. All 31 are on the table. Like, how bad do you want it, Russ? Like, how bad do you actually want to get out? Football reasons or not? Because I actually think the ball is now in Russell Wilson's court. If you really want out, if you're really unhappy with the offensive line or the input on the roster or the head coach or the building of the brand, then open it up and tell them anyone's available. Greeny, I do want to point this out. I think the $39 million versus the $32 million point that Schefter just made is the best point that I've heard about this whole situation. Because I'm thinking $39 million is a ton. But if it's 39 versus 32 and the difference is $7 million, then this becomes, again, way more realistic if you're the Seattle Seahawks. And if they don't think that their football team this year is capable of winning a Super Bowl, then the opportunity to go and acquire a bunch of draft picks and the decision to move on from Russell Wilson becomes way more realistic with the cap hit difference.
Go ahead, Schefter.
Well, let me say this. They're not going to come out and say this, but they once built this team with a young rookie quarterback like Russell Wilson. And I'll bet you there's a part of them that would love to do that again, especially with all the issues that have developed between the two sides, with Russell's contract being what it is. There's a part of, they're not going to say this, but there's a part of Seattle. What greater challenge would there be to a front office than to go identify a good young quarterback? Let's go build it around him. Now, that doesn't mean you stop making moves. We saw the Seahawks yesterday sign Gerald Everett, the former Rams tight end. We saw them trade for Gabe Jackson, the Raiders guard. They're going to continue to build the offense. But if you get in a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal, that hits the reset button and allows you to build from the ground up the way they once did with Russell Wilson as a young rookie quarterback.
Yes, and there's so much more on this I want to get to. Quickly, Schefty, though, because you're the one that talked to the agent and got the list of teams. Should we expect that list to expand? Should we expect at some point
He doesn't have to expand the list, Greeny, and here's why. Seattle is going to do what's best for the Seahawks. If the Seahawks work out a trade with a team in the top 10, the Carolina Panthers, and that's acceptable to the Seattle Seahawks, well, then they go to Russell Wilson. They say, Russell, I know we didn't get you to Chicago or New Orleans or Dallas or Las Vegas, but we've got a trade in place with Carolina. And then we get to Dan's point. Well, does Russell Wilson want to stay in Seattle with whatever issues are there, and clearly there are some, or does he want to hit the reset button too and welcome a trade to a place that wasn't initially on his list? Plus, how do we know that he was fully forthcoming on all the teams that he wanted to go to? You think he showed all his hands, all his colors on those teams? There might be another one or two teams that he didn't list because he doesn't want to show his full hand at that time. I'm not telling you that happened, but I've had people suggest that that could be the case. We'll see.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.